Remember to subscribe and hit the notification button to keep up to date with our latest videos.
The exhaust crackles and probably shoots flames. This is gonna be fun. Oh yeah, get sideways. That's fun. All right, you guys, what is going on? Welcome to Roads Untraveled. My name is Marcus, as always, and here we are in a 1985 Toyota Celica that has been turbocharged. Okay, it's got the 22RE engine under the hood, which is a 2.4 liter inline 4 that came naturally aspirated from the factory, but has been turbocharged. It's all custom. Cam has done this all himself. Custom manifold. It's got a Mega Squirt ECU under the hood, and it's running about 7 PSI right now, but this engine is basically all torque. It only revs to about 5,700 RPM. So think like 80s, 90s Mustangs, okay? It's all torque, but it's a 4-cylinder. If you guys don't know much about this generation Celica, basically this was kind of around the time that the Celica and the Supra began to part ways, or very, very drastically parted ways in 1986, the year after this, right? So the Supra was created from the Celica platform, actually, with a longer wheelbase and to fit the 6-cylinder engine, right, in the Supra. The Celica kept the shorter wheelbase and the 4-cylinder. This was the last year of the rear-wheel drive Celicas. So, naturally, the perfect platform to stick a turbo on a very lightweight car, right around 2,700 pounds. Some of them were actually lighter, so depending on what you had, but I think this one's right around 2,600 pounds or so. Very light, and it is a little bit slick out today. As you guys saw back there, I got a little bit sideways on the first corner. So we're gonna be careful, but we're gonna experience the torquiness of this engine and Cam's turbo setup and see what it's all about. The exhaust is dumping like right down there. It's just, yeah, downpipe and then just open wastegate. Yeah, it just dumps. It's fine though.
Alright you guys, so if you want to learn more about Cameron's Celica, head on over to FanMods, okay? We have partnered with them once again because their app is awesome and they're pushing some insanely great and cool modified cars. So, if you want to know the whole parts list, every modification, and a bunch of photos and stuff, definitely click the link in the description to hit up Cameron's profile. As well, within FanMods, you can compete in battles, right? The community votes on which car they like best, and then with these battle wins, you can actually exchange the points for discounts on real aftermarket parts. So for one more week, every win in the battle system actually gets you one entry to win a trip to Las Vegas, Nevada for SEMA Ignited. and there's weekly giveaways and prizes. You'll see it once you open the app and make your profile. You can add all your aftermarket parts and stuff, a bunch of photos, and there's new features being constantly added. Thanks again to FanMods for sponsoring this video, and if you guys want to support the show, support FanMods and check out some cool rides, definitely hit up the app as well. You can go follow my car and keep up with my MR2 over there. So hope you guys enjoy the rest of the video.
Sometimes when you're here, I can feel no doubt, 'cause you keep me where the stars.
Hey, my name is Cameron McDougall, and this is my 1985 Toyota Celica GTS. I bought the car for $1,000 back about 2 years ago, and it was 100% stock. And from then till now, I think I've spent probably close to 200 to 300 man hours on it, and a good chunk of change, that's for sure. Well, originally when the car was built, when I bought it actually, came with a blown motor. It had a little bit of a rod knock and a blown head gasket, so I pulled the motor out, rebuilt it completely, put all new pistons in it, new rods, new head gasket, like a metal head gasket, and nice goodies inside, and kind of built it for boost in preparation. With the space and everything like that, I just kind of winged it. I fitted everything up on the day and made it fit, cut everything fit, made everything myself, all custom, like fitting the manifold and stuff. I bought a flange from LCE. Kind of stuck it on the engine with a couple of bolts, took the manifold part, stuck the turbo where I wanted it to, and plopped everything into place and kind of tacked and put it all together, and then same with the intercooler piping. Kind of just made everything fit. Well, what I was looking for was something that would spool quick but still boost hard. So I went with the Garrett GT28. It's a 2871R dual ball bearing that I picked up, used actually off a buddy of mine that only had a couple hours on it, and it was actually on a motorcycle. And it was low hours, in good condition, and yeah, I went with that one. Well, for computers and electronics and stuff, I went with a Megasquirt 2 version 3 with MapDaddy upgrade in it, so it's got a bigger, higher PSI map sensor. Built my own harness thanks to a couple of really good friends of mine, Josh and Brendan. They helped me actually build the car and put the turbo kit together in 7 days. Went from NA to turbo. I don't have a clue on how much power this thing's making. But dyno's saying probably around 200 horsepower, somewhere around there. Originally it came with 115, roughly, and you know, I'm thinking it's about 200 and about 240 foot-pounds of torque. I've got a few other mods on it. 9-to-1 pistons. I got a 60 mil 7M throttle body on it, which is 5 mil bigger than the stock one. I've got 440cc injectors in it. The Garrett turbo, 2.5-inch straight pipe, just open down pipe right now. External wastegate, intercooler up front, all the fun stuff.
Already one of my favorite things about this car is the gauge cluster. It's all 80s all the time. It's got a really funky looking, boomerang looking tack over here, which does not work at the moment, but Cam was like, yeah, you can feel it, you know, because it's all torque, and it even dies. It dies near the top, right around 4,500 RPM or so, and just kind of dies near the top. So he told me to feel it out, and that's exactly what I'm gonna do. This is a classic car. This is a very 80s car, designed in the early 80s and perfected here in 2018. So, oh yeah, there we go. Not bad. Damn, dude. That is not bad at all. Oh, it's so loud, but the best thing is, low speed, low RPM, the turbo spool, just hear it whistle up so nicely. Oh, it's the greatest. It's kind of like a truck, to be honest, but we can throw it sideways there fairly easily. Don't worry, Cam, I'm going like 10 kilometers an hour. Super fun. It's even got the open diff in the back, but the rear end is from the Supra of the time. These seats are from the Supra. This is, I mean, like I said, this was the last year of the rear wheel drive Celicas, right? So after this, the Supra it actually became its own thing, right? Because before this, they were very essentially the same car. Just the Supra had a very, slightly longer wheelbase. But in 1986, the Mark III Supra came out, and then the Celica was no longer rear-wheel drive. It was front-wheel drive, or the GT4 got all-wheel drive. And then, of course, the Celica went on to win many, many World Rally Championships and was actually the first Japanese manufacturer to win a WRT championship with an all-wheel drive sports car. In fact, also had the 3S GTE, which is the engine in my car, the MR2. So Toyota has very, very deep sports car roots, obviously. You guys already know that. But especially around this time, there was a lot of change going on, okay? The Mark I MR2 was still in production in 85, 86. The Celica, the Supra. There's a lot of stuff. A lot of really cool cars. That's a one-tire fire there. No traction in second gear. Third gear pulls. Wow! This thing's quick. Big throttle body, so you get really sensitive throttle there. And it sounds like a truck. It sounds like a diesel truck or something. It's very loose. The steering on center is incredibly not inspiring. Once you get into a corner, it's nice. It's good. Honestly, I'm fairly impressed with how these BC coilovers are riding right now. I'm curious to see how Cam actually has these set up. I think spring rates are 10 and 12, I believe he was saying. So fairly stiff, but honestly, it rides very nice. Rides very nice. Shifter feels pretty good. Classic Toyota Nachi. Feels very similar to my MR2. It's just a little bit more floppy, and the stick is a little bit longer. Well, actually, it's like triple the size. But that being said, there's good shifting feel for sure. But don't get it twisted. This is 80s. This is 80s. Nothing is very accurate in this car. There were some people on drugs when they were, God, I just want to drift this thing so bad. Cam, you have built yourself a, wow. I'm comfortable in saying this is probably some of the most fun, maybe the most fun I've ever had in like a fully home-built, sub $5,000 car out of anything. This is legit. This is super cool. Oh yeah, understeer and oversteer. all in a day's work. Wow, good brake pedal feel too.
Nobody makes coilovers for these. I actually had to source out a set that would roughly fit, and actually found a weld-on set for a MX-73 Cressida and got them used, chopped the old spindles off and cut them to size and welded them on and made them fit, and had to drill a few holes here and there and adjust some stuff, but made them fit and it's sitting pretty. Well, strongest thing about this car compared to the other Celicas of the same year is this one's got an independent rear end in it compared to all the other ones, which are solid axle. All of the other ones that are solid axle have a 6.7-inch rear end, which is the same that came in the Corollas, the A86s, and they're extremely weak. They break really easily. This one's got the independent rear end, which is actually the same out of the Mark II Supra, which is a 7.5-inch, so much stronger CVs, stronger drive shaft, stronger rear end, and LSD options too. Well, a stock diff in it right now is I think a 3.92 rear end open, and I've actually got a 410 LSD sitting at home ready to go into it. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. Interior is pretty much stock besides the steering wheel and a stereo upgrade, and that's about it, and that's just for creature comforts. Well, I've always been a horsepower guy, and I've always been chasing those high horsepower numbers. And this one, it's just high torque right now, just because of the cam in it. So I just haven't had a chance to change the cam out, and unfortunately, to change the cam out in this thing, I have to actually lift the head and pull the head off. So just because all of the braces for the head bolts are all straight down, and there's actually covers that go over the cam, and the only way to get the cam out is pull the head bolts out.
So Cam did say this had launch control. So factory Toyota switch it. That's fun. That is fun. Two-step, baby. So it is kind of cool to see the heritage of the Supra in a car that doesn't get a lot of recognition. These cars, this generation, these generations of Celicas do not get the recognition they deserve for essentially being responsible for the Mark III and Mark IV Supras. Without the Celica, the Mark IV Supra would not exist. So let's take the time to just let that resonate and appreciate in our minds. Very cool to drive something with this amount of heritage and influence in the Toyota world. Oh yeah! That was definitely on purpose. Just all the inputs are very alive. Everything is very much alive in this car. The steering less so than, you know, the shifter and the brake and the throttle. But that being said, it's very alive. You had a few rattles here and there, but not much. Great crackles that are popping like right there. And this is only 7 PSI. I mean, I don't know how much boost that this block can take, but 7 PSI is not a lot, and it kind of makes sense because Cam's got a good sized turbo on there for a torquey engine. It's matched perfectly to the torquey characteristics of this 2.4 liter when it was factory NA, right? Now just adding the turbo, more torque, and then I'm sure that the power dip near the top of the rev range is even more pronounced, but then that just makes it even more of a feeling car, you know? You can feel the rev band instead of having to rely on the visual aid of the tach, right? Which is a lot of fun. There's so many cars before the year 2000 that I would way rather own than anything that's new. Like, I would rather own this than an FRS or a BRZ. 100%. 100%. Please crucify me for that in the comments. I really don't care. The interior is very 80s. It does have electric windows though, manual seats, and then this is probably one of the coolest features I've seen in any car, period. I've never seen this before in my entire life. Taking a page from Doug DeMuro's book, we're gonna give you a little bit of the quirks of this car today. Look at this little air pump. So what you do is you pump this air up. You're like, oh, I need some more bolstering for this corner coming up. Downshift, continue pumping, and then you press these buttons, and you can essentially change the bolsters, side bolsters, and the rest of the seat is adjustable with your hand, your air pump. That's ridiculous. It's definitely laggy, but it's not. It's a very smooth power band. It's not a hit of the turbo. It's not at all. Not at all. It's especially at 7 PSI. It's very docile, very smooth power band. Hooks up in third. Wow, this is awesome. But it kind of is. I think the comparison I made with the FRS and the BRZ just comes naturally. It's a lightweight car, not a lot of power. This has more power than a stock BRZ or FRS, mind you. Definitely. by a long shot. But it's got the same sort of feel, right? It's very light, it's tossable, and it gets loose on you, right? You don't need much power to get loose, but this actually has very meaty torque, and it only revs to 5,700 RPM. So you've got to be very aware of where you're shifting, and these ratios in the gearbox are extremely close, so it's like you're right back into power, you're right back into boost immediately, right? Anywhere in the rev range. Super cool. All right, you guys, well, hopefully you enjoyed Cam's Celica. This has got to be one of the most unique builds we've had on the channel in a long time. Definitely one of the most 80s builds we've ever had, in spirit and in visuals, modifications, everything. And yes, I'm going to continue saying Celica because that's how we say it in Canada here, and that is what the Japanese and Toyota, how they pronounced it in their ads in the 80s. Go look it up. Go watch their ads. They say Celica. It's fine though, you Americans, it's fine. Don't worry, we're not gonna judge you. Okay, thanks guys for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit us up on Instagram, hit Cam up on Instagram. We'll put all his links in the description and everything. And let me know what you guys think in the comments of this build. I think this is really cool. And it was a ton of fun to drive. So, hope you guys enjoyed it, and we will see you next time.